My name is Eleanor Hartman, and at 72, I thought the worst thing life could throw at me was losing my husband of 45 years. I was wrong. The real nightmare started the day after his funeral, when my only daughter, Rebecca, knocked on my door with a suitcase and a sweet, practiced smile. "Mom, I'll stay for a few days." "No one should be alone after something like this," she said softly. Rebecca had always been ambitious, constantly wanting more than we could give. Married to David, a man who never kept a job for long, she'd always looked at our house like it was a prize she was entitled to. It was a gorgeous colonial mansion that my husband and I spent decades restoring. 3 floors, intricate woodwork, big windows overlooking one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in town. At first, her presence felt comforting. She made my meals, organized my medication, cleaned the house, and brought me chamomile tea every morning at 8 a.m. She'd hand me the cup with a gentle smile. "Doctor says it'll help with your anxiety, Mom. Grief can mess with your sleep." But a few weeks later, something changed. I started feeling foggy, tired, forgetful. I'd find myself in the middle of a sentence and suddenly not remember what I was saying. "It's natural, Mom." "You're 72, Rebecca would say with that same reassuring smile that, looking back, masked something colder. Soon it became a routine: tea at 8, confusion at 10, a nap at 11, then hours of drifting through the day like a ghost. I missed appointments, forgot names, lost track of time. Every doctor visit, Rebecca tagged along. "I'm worried about her," she told the doctor. "She's left the stove on, gotten lost in her own house." The doctor looked at me with pity. This could be early dementia. I tried to object, but my words were slow, slurred, like my brain was wrapped in cotton. Not long after, Rebecca and David took control of my finances. "Mom, there were unpaid bills. It's safer if David handles this," she insisted. My pension and my late husband's combined income was around $16,000 a month. The house was paid off. My expenses barely reached $4,000, yet somehow I was always short on money. When I asked Rebecca, she blamed expensive medications. That was the first red flag. She mentioned a drug, clonazepam, I had never taken in my life. By autumn, Rebecca had systematically isolated me. My friends were told I was too confused to receive visitors. My book club thought I'd withdrawn voluntarily. Even my brother, who lived down south, was convinced by her stories of aggression and delusions. Then one night, while pretending to sleep on the couch, I overheard Rebecca on the phone. "The realtor says it's worth at least $3.5 million. Once we get power of attorney, we can sell and buy the condo at the beach." My blood ran cold. Power of attorney. Sell my house. That night, for the first time, I poured the tea into a plant instead of drinking it. The next morning, my mind was clearer than it had been in months. I did it again the next day. And the next. Within a week, I knew the truth. My daughter was slowly poisoning me. I wasn't just some helpless old woman. I'd been a criminal law professor for 35 years. And Rebecca was about to discover that she'd chosen the wrong person to underestimate. I hid a tiny digital recorder in my robe pocket and started collecting evidence. For 2 weeks, I recorded her morning calls. Then, one November morning, I caught everything. "The geriatrician already signed the papers," she whispered. "2 more medical opinions and we'll have her declared incompetent. Once we sell the house, the beachfront condo is ours." I kept my breathing steady, pretending to be asleep. Over the next few days, I stored samples of the tea in jars, carefully labeling each one. Then, when she was out one morning, I made a secret call to Dr. Evans, my late husband's oncologist, a sharp, no-nonsense woman who had always been suspicious of Rebecca's behavior. "Doctor, I need your help, but no one can know," I whispered. She didn't hesitate. "Bring me everything tomorrow. If what you're saying is true, this isn't just abuse, it's attempted murder." The next day, I told Rebecca I had a cholesterol appointment. She insisted on accompanying me, but I claimed an old friend, Teresa, was driving me. When the taxi arrived, I left before she could stop me. Dr. Evans welcomed me into her office like a conspirator. "Eleanor, you're sharper than most women half your age. Let's prove it." She drew blood for toxicology, ran cognitive tests, and examined my tea samples. My scores were excellent. The tea? She didn't tell me the results then, but her tightening expression said enough. Before I left, she handed me a small hidden camera disguised inside a book. Place this in your kitchen. We need footage of her tampering with your drinks. I returned home, playing the role of confused old woman perfectly. When Rebecca asked about the appointment, I mumbled something about cholesterol pills. She bought it. That night, I installed the camera. The next morning, at 7:30, it recorded her crushing pills into my tea with calm precision. 3 days later, Dr. Evans called. The toxicology came back. High levels of benzodiazepines, clonazepam, and zolpidem in dangerous doses. Eleanor, she's not just drugging you, she's killing you slowly. I felt a wave of cold, controlled fury. My own daughter, Dr. Evans, had already contacted her lawyer, Ms. Hayes, a specialist in elder abuse cases. The police were looped in. But we can't move until we have everything, she explained. Stay in the house. Keep acting confused. Stop consuming anything she prepares. So I played along, day after day. Rebecca ramped up her manipulation, bringing in more doctors who signed papers based solely on her fabricated stories. She spoke on the phone about my aggressive episodes, laughed with David about the beachfront condo, and believed she was untouchable. But every lie she told, every pill she crushed, every smug smile was being documented, and the clock was ticking. Christmas was approaching, and Rebecca's act of being the caring daughter was flawless to everyone outside the house. To neighbors and family, she was the devoted woman taking care of her frail, confused mother. Inside, she was tightening the noose. She had secured 2 doctors' signatures confirming my dementia and was working on a third to lock in the legal process for conservatorship. I pretended to drop things, stared blankly at calendars, forgot names. It was the hardest performance of my life. One afternoon, while pretending to nap, I overheard her on the phone. Dr. Mendez at Rebirth Clinic agreed. With 3 reports, we can have her committed without a hearing. Once she's in, the power of attorney kicks in, the house gets sold, and we're set. Who's going to question it? Her brother's out of state, her friends think she's senile. I lay there frozen. It wasn't just about my house anymore. Rebecca wanted me legally erased. The next day, Dr. Evans called again. The judge is willing to grant a protective order, but she wants irrefutable evidence, hair analysis. It'll show months of drug exposure. I cut a lock of hair and handed it to her during one of Rebecca's errands. Around that time, I found a folder hidden in the guest room, a life insurance policy in my name, taken out 3 months after my husband died. The beneficiaries? Rebecca and David. Value $800,000. They weren't just planning to put me away, they were planning for my death. 2 days later, the hair analysis came back. 6 months of escalating doses. That same night, I gave Rebecca and David a sealed letter at dinner. Open this on New Year's, I said with a vague smile. Inside was a single sentence: I know everything, and you're going to pay for this. By late December, she was getting impatient. One afternoon, I noticed her crushing 3 pills into my tea instead of 2. You look tired, Mom. This will help you relax, she said sweetly. I smiled and poured it into the planter later. The poor plant was half dead by now, but it had saved my life. That night at dinner, Rebecca casually announced, Mom, we found a wonderful assisted living community, specialized care, nurses, 24/7. A nursing home? I feigned confusion. An assisted living community, David corrected, for people with your difficulties. I tilted my head like I was trying to understand. When? Right after New Year's. Everything's arranged, she said, relief flashing across her face. I nodded slowly. If you think it's for the best. That night, I packed a small bag documents, real medications, a few clothes, and hid it under my bed. The trap was nearly set. The next day, I received a message from Mrs. Hayes. Operation moved up to tomorrow, 10 a.m. Be ready. I played my role at dinner one last time. But I let one sentence slip, deliberately. Rebecca, when you sell the house, how long until you buy that beach condo? Her fork froze midair. David choked on his water. What are you talking about, Mom? She said quickly. The condo, I replied innocently. The one you used my money for. Daniel went pale. You're confused again, Rebecca said tightly. I'm confused about a lot of things, I said slowly, but not about the clonazepam in my tea, or the life insurance policy in my name. The room fell silent. Rebecca recovered first. She's having another delusion. Let's get her to bed. They're not delusions, I said evenly. They're facts. Like the fact that tomorrow you're taking me to Dr. Mendez to sign my commitment papers. Rebecca's mask cracked. She stood abruptly. You need rest. I'll make you a stronger tea. No, thank you, I said calmly. Her eyes hardened. She's out of control, she snapped to David. I lifted my phone. I've been recording every word, every plan, every crushed pill for the last 2 months. Panic flickered across her face. It's your word against mine, she hissed. You're just a senile old woman. Oh, really? I showed the toxicology report on my phone, or should I play the audio of you discussing the house sale? David's face crumbled as the recording played. Rebecca, what did you do? What had to be done? She spat. She's old. She was going to die soon anyway. Why not take advantage of what she has? Her cruelty hung in the air. David recoiled, muttering, This has gone too far, and stormed out. Rebecca turned to me, her face twisted with rage. You always ruin everything for me. No, Rebecca, I said quietly. You ruined it the moment you decided to poison your own mother. She laughed bitterly. I have 3 medical reports, witnesses, months of incidents. And what do you have? Recordings? No one will believe you. I have more than that. I have an ironclad case. For the first time, doubt flickered in her eyes. She grabbed her purse and stormed out. That night was the first I'd felt real peace in months. Tomorrow, everything would change. The morning of December 30th, I woke early. I brewed my own coffee, clean, safe. At 9:45, the doorbell rang. Dr. Condas, Evans, Ms. Hayes, and 2 police officers stood there. Eleanor, Detective Miller said, we came early. Your daughter tried to move up your commitment this morning, presenting forged power of attorney. The clinic called us. My blood went cold. She's already trying to commit me today? She fled when the doctor questioned it. We need your full statement now. For an hour, I laid out everything, the recordings, the samples, the camera footage, the documents. As they listened, their faces hardened. This isn't just elder abuse, Detective Miller said finally. This is attempted murder. Just as we finished, the doorbell rang again. It was my brother, confused and worried. Eleanor, what's going on? Rebecca called and said you'd been committed. Before I could answer, my phone rang, blocked number. I put it on speaker. Mom, Rebecca's voice came through, calm and cold. You won. Congratulations. Where are you? You called the police on your own daughter. You tried to kill me, I said. She laughed, dramatic as always. I was taking care of you. Drugging, forging, isolating, that's not care. There was a pause. Then she said something that made everyone in the room exchange a look. You know what Dad told me once? Your worst nightmare is dying alone. Maybe that's exactly how it'll end. The line went dead. The detective signaled silently to trace the call. Officers left immediately. Hours later, they found her motel room empty. She'd fled, leaving behind a letter addressed to me. I don't regret what I did, only that I wasn't more careful. I wanted to see you lose control, to watch you become helpless. Don't look for me. I'll find my own way. I let the letter fall to the floor. It was the cruelest goodbye a mother could ever receive. The police issued a warrant. Boarders were alerted. But I knew my daughter. If she didn't want to be found, she wouldn't be. The next months were spent undoing her damage, canceling forged powers of attorney, reversing transfers, firing corrupt lawyers. Every new document I uncovered deepened the betrayal. Then, while cleaning my late husband's office, I found a hidden envelope in his handwriting. Eleanor, something is wrong with Rebecca. I've seen her researching medication, incompetency laws, our names in her notes. If something happens after I'm gone, look in the false bottom of my drawer. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a folder with printed emails, bank statements, and search histories. Rebecca's. She'd been planning this since before he died. And suddenly, the quiet guilt in my husband's eyes during his last months made sense. He'd known. He'd just been too weak to confront it. The discovery in my husband's drawer shattered what little illusion remained. Rebecca's betrayal hadn't started after his death. It had been growing like a hidden rot while he was still alive. Among the files were internet searches for untraceable poisons, medical procedures for declaring elderly relatives incompetent, and draft emails discussing financial transfers. She'd been planning it all along. The police took the evidence immediately. It changed everything. Detective Miller's face hardened when she saw the documents. Eleanor, this suggests she might have started with your husband. I couldn't even finish the thought. Are you saying she might have? We need to be sure, the detective said gently. We'll request an exhumation. The weeks that followed were brutal. Media swarmed the house. Headlines read things like, Law Professor, targeted by own daughter, and elder abuse case exposes chilling family plot. Security had to be reinforced. Cameras were installed inside and outside. My brother Daniel even moved in temporarily to keep me company. When the exhumation results came in, my world tilted. We found traces of arsenic, the medical examiner explained. The levels are too high to be natural or accidental. It was administered slowly over months. The symptoms would have mimicked chemotherapy side effects. Michael had died of cancer, real cancer, but Rebecca had accelerated his death. It was official. She wasn't just a manipulative daughter. She was a murderer. An arrest warrant for first-degree murder was added to the charges. But she was gone. Weeks turned into months, and every day I lived like a woman waiting for a storm to return. Unfamiliar cars outside made me nervous. Blocked calls made my hands shake. Then in July, Detective Miller called. We found her, Eleanor. Argentina. She's living under the name Livia Campos, working as a financial consultant. Interpol is coordinating the arrest. I didn't sleep that night. Memories of little Rebecca laughing in the backyard mixed with the calculating woman who had tried to erase me. But when the raid came, she slipped away again. Somehow, she'd been tipped off. She always had eyes everywhere. Months passed. I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I gave guest lectures again. Rejoined my book club. Started a foundation for elderly abuse victims, named after my husband. It gave me purpose, turning my pain into power. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. The following winter, the police confirmed Rebecca had returned to the country under a false identity. We devised a plan not just to catch her, but to end the endless cycle of hiding and fear. I decided to become the bait. I want to move into the beach condo she wanted, I told Detective Miller. We'll announce that I've donated the mansion. She won't be able to resist showing up. The detective was skeptical. You're putting yourself at risk. She's always been one step ahead because I've been reacting. It's time she reacts to me. The trap was set. The mansion donation was announced in the local press, along with my plans to retire peacefully by the ocean. Police installed hidden cameras, motion sensors, and stationed officers in nearby apartments. For weeks, nothing happened. Then in late February, we noticed a woman with dark hair and sunglasses appearing in the same places I frequented, never too close, never obvious. She's testing your routine, the detective said. Then, one stormy night in March, the power went out. Backup generators lit the security systems, but to anyone outside, the condo looked dark and vulnerable. My earpiece buzzed. Eleanor, stay alert. This could be her moment, Detective Miller whispered. I sat quietly in my armchair, a tranquilizer gun hidden under a cushion, something I never imagined I'd keep. At 12:17 a.m., I heard it, a faint metallic click from the balcony. Night vision cameras caught a hooded figure picking the lock. Within seconds, the door slid open. She moved like a shadow. She pulled her hood back. Her hair was cut short and dyed black, but those eyes were unmistakable. "Mother," she whispered. "Did you miss me?" I stayed still. "I know you're awake," she said softly. "I know this is a trap. The cops, the cameras, the sensors. Did you think I wouldn't notice?" I slowly opened my eyes. "Then why are you here?" She smiled coldly. "Because you challenged me. I just wanted to prove I can still get in whenever I want. You came all this way just to make a point? I've already hurt you. I destroyed your security, your trust, your family, and yet here I am, free. Untouchable. You're not untouchable, Rebecca. You're reckless." Her jaw clenched. She paced around, touching furniture like she owned the place. "You love being admired, don't you? Without an audience, you're nothing. That's what I learned from you. And what are you without your hatred for me?" I asked quietly. For a brief moment, something flickered in her eyes. Vulnerability? Confusion? Then it was gone. "I am someone who takes what she wants," she snapped. "I don't wait for scraps. You could have had everything," I said. "Love, family. Eventually, all of this would have been yours. It was too tedious to wait." I took a deep breath. "Then this ends tonight." At that exact moment, the lights snapped on. Officers flooded the room from every entrance, guns raised. Detective Miller stepped forward. "Rebecca Hartman, you are under arrest for attempted murder, first-degree murder, fraud, document forgery, and breaking and entering." For a moment, she looked genuinely shocked. Then she smiled. "Brilliant, Mother, using my ego against me." As they cuffed her, she pulled a photograph of my husband and me from her pocket. "I just wanted to return this," she said with icy calm. As she was let out, she turned back. "This isn't the end, it's just intermission." But this time, I wasn't afraid. Months later, Rebecca accepted a plea deal. In exchange for revealing her entire criminal network, doctors, lawyers, even people in institutions who could fake deaths, she received a reduced sentence, 15 years, parole possible after 12. The prosecutor was hesitant, but I supported the deal, not for her. For the countless elderly lives her network endangered. The day she entered her guilty plea, she addressed the court calmly. "I accepted this deal because my mother knew exactly how to trap me. She used my pride against me. I don't regret what I did, only that I wasn't more careful. But I'll honor the deal because it's rational." There was no apology. No tears. Just the same calculating woman I'd raised without realizing what she truly was. After the sentencing, life slowly settled into something resembling peace. The foundation expanded, helping hundreds of elderly victims. My brother moved nearby. I returned to teaching occasionally. One evening, a letter arrived from the prison in Rebecca's handwriting. Against my better judgment, I opened it. "Mother, I don't hate you anymore. I admire you. In another life, we could have been allies. You're as calculating as I am. You call it justice. I call it pragmatism. Don't respond. This isn't reconciliation. It's just a thought." I burned the letter that night. On Michael's 80th birthday, I brought flowers to his grave and whispered, "It's over." Not the way we expected, but it's over. For the first time in years, I felt truly free. Not because justice was perfect, it rarely is, but because I had faced the monster I raised and survived. I sat on the balcony of the condo she once coveted, watching the ocean, feeling the quiet hum of life returning. "I'm still here," I whispered. "And I'm not afraid anymore." If you think this story was shocking, just wait until you hear the next one. Click the video on your screen for another chilling tale of betrayal and revenge that will leave you speechless.